Hey, how's it going, everybody? It is Mule and
Yeah.
Donkey time. My name's Dave. This is Steve Edwards. We're here to walk you into the land of Mule and Donkey, and we're going to take you around. We're going to show you the sights. We're going to tell you a few places you might be excited to visit. We're going to tell you a few places maybe you should reconsider or maybe you should avoid. We're going to warn you of some of the areas where people get frustrated, and we're going to do our best to make sure that you have a map so that you can guide yourself along the adventure and get every ounce of goodness there is to get out of it. It's been a whole week since we've talked. Steve, how the heck are you today?
Oh my golly, we're staying in out of the heat. It was kind of nice to be up there in Canada, down in the 50s in the morning and the 70s during the day. But we still had to turn the heater on inside the cabin we were staying at. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it says that this is like one of the hottest like summers on record. And I believe that it might be hot for a length of time, but last year, I think we had a streak of like 37 days or something where it was over 110 degrees. And when you're comparing last year to this year, it's hot, but it doesn't feel like 37 days straight of over 110 degrees hot. So I'm actually feeling pretty good about it. And anyone who's lived in Arizona for any length of time, I think that they know what I'm talking about. It just seems like when it's over 109, when it gets to 110, there's just something different about it. There's just something, I don't know, different. So, anyways, my name's Dave. This is Steve Edwards, and every week we do get together to talk mules and donkeys, and we are so glad that you are hanging out with us this week. There's really only a few things that you need to know. The first thing is that we're so glad that you're here. We'll just throw that in there. We're so glad that you're here, spending a little bit of time with us today, and we actually want to hear from you. So the first thing is we want to hear your name, where you're watching from, and what the weather is like. It's really easy to do, whether on Facebook or watching on YouTube. In the comment section, just put your name, where you're watching from, and what the weather is like, so we can say hello to you. We have a couple friends already in there modeling like good mule and donkey citizens do, modeling for you, and we would love to hear from you as well. The second thing we ask is that you share any and every mule or donkey question that you have. So no matter if it seems like it's a simple question or if it's complex, if it's one that seems kind of stupid or one that seems kind of advanced, there's nothing off limits. We want to make sure that you get the information that you need so you have fun and enjoy, like I said, taking this journey in the mule and donkey world. So any and every mule or donkey question that you got, now is a great time to put it in the comment section, and we do our best to get to every single one every single week. The third thing that we ask is that you share the broadcast with friends and family. It's really easy to do that. You can tag them in the comment section. You can click the share button and send it to them directly. If you click like and subscribe, that lets the algorithms know and all your friends and family know that, hey, this is a good thing right here. Come hang out with us. So those are the three things we asked. We're so glad that you're here. I want to get into it and say hello to Cowboy Ken, watching from Connecticut, where it's 77 degrees. Hannah is watching from Florida, 92 degrees with thunderstorms. God bless America, she says. Cowboy Ken, he says it's a beautiful day today, and we'll take it. Merlin is watching from northwest Minnesota, where it's clear and about 78 degrees. Leslie is watching from Illinois, where it's 80 and sunny. Jack is watching from Johannesburg, 78 and sunny. Craig is watching from El Reno, Oklahoma, 98 degrees. Typical August day. Rory is watching from Ohio, where it's 82 and there is a low humidity. So, Steve, the first question that I have for you today comes from Johnny. He says, what is the best way to socialize your mule to new people and get them to consent to new people touching and handling them? This mule I have has a very good disposition and he's smart. He's just shy of new people.
Well, if he's got a very good disposition, it's only toward you, because a good disposition to me, pretty much everybody's his friend. No matter who comes up to him, whatever. You're going to find that there are some mules that just are or want to know more about you before we get to having a good conversation. To desensitize, forget it, throw it out the door. I can tell you that I've gone up and down the Grand Canyon on different times, and them mules have pretty much seen, you would think, everybody, every kind of person, but there'll be a couple, two or three of them they don't like, okay? And we'll kind of snort and blow at them and stay away. You always want to have people, number one, this is the most important. Anytime anybody wants to approach a mule, it's not from the nose. It's always from the shoulder. Why is that? Because when you first see two animals, two equine coming up to one another, they both come up and they sniff each other, and one goes, "Wee! I'm the biggest. Wee! No, I'm the biggest." And they get to see, and all right, it's the pecking order that they're lining out. Who is the top of the pecking order, you see? But you always approach the shoulder. That's a neutral zone. Have whoever's going to visit with them approach them the shoulder. Don't do this, folks. Don't put your arm out there and say, "Come here, Fluffy, come here, it's okay, touch me," or give them carrots or something like that. Don't do that, okay? If you want to take and really do something, get on the end of the come-along rope and teach them to stand still and quiet no matter what you do to them, no matter how many people walk up to them or anything. Okay, that's what you can do. Will it work? Yeah, but it's got to be your timing, and that's really important. Your timing, because if your timing is off, so is the mule's going to be off. So how important is the come along rope? It's important for everything. Will that mule like everybody? No. Have I seen mules that loves everybody? Yeah, we used to have one. Her name was Stacy, and she didn't make any difference. Hers was super duper disposition. But you'll have some dispositions that will only get along with you or maybe another close family or something. But there's nothing you can do. The best thing you can do is teach the come along rope and bump it. And when they get to elevating their head and being a little bit snorty, bump them. Okay. And always, always, always try to fix the problem before it becomes a problem.
Awesome. Great question. Thank you, Johnny. Let's see here. Rory is watching, Southwest Ohio, 82 degrees and low humidity. Just finished a little 8-mile ride, listening from the shower. Whoa, 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 little TMI there, Rory. Okay. Well, you can take the Mule Ranch podcast anywhere you want to go, folks. You can take Steve with you wherever you want to go. And if you can't watch us live, you can watch the replay. And right here in the link, Rory, this one's for you, is the podcast. You can get it on the recording. We love you, Rory. Cassia's watching from the land down under, Australia. She's got a question about hobbles. I'd imagine mules would learn real quick how to get mobile, toying with overnight containment options while packing.
Yep. I have seen mules and horses, as far as that's concerned, where they hobble only the two front feet because they're thinking, he won't go nowhere. I'll guarantee you them mules and horses have been more than one time, went back to the pickup truck, or more than one time found them another camp to stay at. Yep, they can run just as fast on 2 feet as they can 4 feet. All right, they can do it. It's amazing. So if I'm going to train one to hobble, this is imperative. I hobble the 2 front feet is to stand still and quiet, period. Okay. I hobble a left front, right rear, or a right front, left rear, and I hobble it so that they will have to scoot to eat. They can't run because if they go to bring their front leg out, it pulls their back leg underneath them, and guess what? They trip and fall on the ground. So they learn pretty quick. Now, a high line is a good thing to do where you tie them up. Make sure you have 2 swivels, one on the high line and one down on the halter. Okay, this is one of the few places that I would use a halter. Next place, and you can see this in my video called Wait Here. I talk about hobbling and how to do it and the different aspects. But here's the last part to hobbling them out. And that's this: you can hobble one rear leg, one. Okay. And again, now, folks, before you do any of this stuff, make sure you got your groundwork squared away first on your come along rope. Number one, because if you can't get them to stand still with the come along rope, you're wasting your time with uh, hobbles. So again, do everything in short spurts, a few minutes at a time. How do you know when it's right? When the head comes down, eyes get big and brown, and the mule is relaxed, nose on a vertical. Not 10 minutes, not 30 days. Okay. Only one thing and one thing only, and that's this: when they're relaxed, when their head is down and they're relaxed. That's it.
Great question. Love it. Let's see here. David is watching, says, what are tips on weaning mules? Why would you like it? Shouldn't they just like naturally wean? Or do you want to try to wean them actively?
No, they don't naturally wean. They pretty much, I've seen, I've seen a lot of equine, unfortunately, still with their mother after a couple years. Even you don't want to do that. So, I pretty much 6 months. They pretty much will be castrated. Their wolf teeth will be. I mean, the wolf teeth will be pulled, and I separate them completely. Now I can do it where I've got a corral panel, and I've got the mother over here and the baby over here. It's okay for them to sniff noses, but it's not okay for them to nurse. So what you would do is you would put them in a panel like I would, and it's got no climb fence on it, so that neither one of them can she can't allow him to nurse. Can they touch nose to nose? Yes. Okay, that's not a problem. But that's what I would do. Only other thing you could do is take your mother and take her to a couple miles away where she can't hear the whinnying of the baby, or the baby can't hear the whinnying of the mother, and that's another thought. But when you get them apart like that, they will get to screaming one another, and visiting with one another. So that's something to consider.
Awesome. Thanks for the question there. Appreciate it. Let's see, David. Sherman is watching. Sherman Johnson, Norman, Oklahoma, 95 degrees. Good to hear from you. Our friend Bill is sharing to the Mules of Ohio and Mules of Indiana. 81 degrees, clear and mild. Dave O'Brien, our friend from East Texas. It's 102 and hot, he says. He's watching. Let's see. Polly is watching from Barnesville, Minnesota, 79, partly cloudy. Judy from Gazelle, California, sunny and has not been as hot as it has been, which I know you're going to take that, Judy. I know you're loving it. Janet is watching from Kingman, where it's 95 degrees. I was told by PV Donkey Rescue that donkeys do not have a pecking order. Is that really true? I adopted a less than 2-year-old donk and put him with my Minnie. Minnie jumped his rear.
That's right. Folks, I don't know where these people get across doing these things. They've been in it just a couple years and think they pretty much got all the information. They don't know what to look for, is one of the tough things too. They don't know what to look for. And so there's little things that can be a problem that will end up being more of a problem. Number one of the biggest reasons that I don't put my animals together is for their good health. I have seen and heard more than one time, multiple times, matter of fact, of the top of the pecking order actually crippling other animals to be the top of the pecking order. So is there a pecking order in donkeys? Yes. Put them in each in a separate stall. Feed them in a separate stall. In other words, keep your donkeys, your mules healthy by keeping them in a 20 by 20 stall. That's not bad. Listen, my wife's mule at 28 years old spent 26 years in a 20 by 20 stall. So there you are.
So folks don't like that, Steve. They don't like hearing that because they want their mule or they don't want them to be lonely. They want them to have a buddy. They want them to enjoy life. They want them to get out there and run around and let the wind flap in their hair and have their buddy kind of like come up and hug on them and have those special like huggy moments. Huggy, yeah. we just coined a term, huggy
Very
moments.
good.
Talk
Yeah.
a little bit about that, because I know that that's a real thing. Because we see dogs and we think, well, if you're going to have dogs are kind of like kids, right? If you're going to have one, you may as well have two, so they have a playmate. Talk a little bit about that and why it is in the best interests of the rider and the mule or the donkey to keep them separated in their stall.
Well, it's not so bad with a dog because a predator is a predator. You're a predator, the dog's a predator, and they can get along a lot easier without having other animals around, other dogs, predators. But an equine's different. They want to have their buddies around. They want to have another equine or something close to it. I've seen people have Shetland ponies be their pasture mate, and they get to where they can't go nowhere without their pasture mate. I've seen people have a goat be the pasture mate, and now they can't go anywhere without that. You need to be the herd leader, period. That's the way the good Lord made the mules and the donkeys and the horses is they are the top, they're the bottom of the pecking order, and they watch out for one another. That's why their eyes are wide apart so they can see things. Uh, and that's why I like to think mules and donkeys have big ears so they can hear things as well. But you really don't want them to start being together. I've got a client that called me just today. By the way, I think I did a record today. I actually had 64 phone calls since about 5 o'clock this morning, and I did some texts and I've done some emails as well. But 64 of them, that's fun. I love talking to people. I talk to people all over the world. So let's go on. Uh, the best thing you all can do is to put the mule in a 20 by 20 stall when you first get him. Start being the herd leader. This lady says, I can't catch him anymore. Oh, okay. Well, what do you want to do? You see, here's the problem. She says he was doing really good when I first got him just a couple months ago, and now he's a completely different animal. Yes, he is, because you gave him what's natural to him, and that is to be out there. They can munch on grass and make their teeth feel good. They can be with their buddies and they got their water and they don't need you. So you just gave them exactly what they want instead of the first 6 months minimum them wanting to be with your buddy. Now I talked to another guy. He didn't have a small pen, so he was literally tying his mule up to a post in the middle of the round pen, and he was been there all night, all the next day, all night, all the next day. He would walk over and give them water and food, and if they didn't take it, they wouldn't get it, which is good. I mean, I've done that before, and it works out pretty good, especially if you got a good snubbing post and you got a good chain, and that works good. Now, is the mule starting to buddy up to him? Yes. Okay. Because why? Because he took away the pasture and his buddies, and now this mule can't wait to see him bringing food and water. Okay. So you need to do that. Don't listen to these. And folks, I don't want to be real short here in a lot of ways, but there's a lot of people who have businesses of rescuing animals. And I'll be honest with you, the majority of people that I talk to in this rescue thing, they need to be rescued because they're not doing these animals good at all. They don't have an idea of what's going on. They kind of baby them through, and then whoever gets them ends up with more problems. And don't get me wrong, there are a few rescue places that do good, okay? But most of the time, I've got just the opposite value of what happens. They don't do so good. Anyway, there we are.
Awesome. Hey, folks, I want to let you know we've got another training coming up. We've got techniques for tuning up. This is the latest training that Steve's doing, and this is helping you create a willing mule or donkey. We're going to help you create a soft and willing animal. Steve, would you talk to us a little bit about what folks can expect us to discuss on this techniques for tuning up event?
You bet. Now, I was just up there in Canada and with Mr. Williamson. And you'll remember him. He's the helicopter pilot over in Arlington, Dave. And Dale is got him a nice mule and this sort of thing, and we were talking about the surcingle and you know why I do it and this sort of thing. He says, "Well, my mule is trained. I don't have to do that." I said, "No, no, no, no. Your car will not be going down the road all the time if you didn't do tune-up things to it, if you didn't grease fittings and change oil, and if you got spark plugs to replace spark plugs, and if you got a fuel system to work clean and fuel on the fuel system, in other words, a tune-up, so that the animal will stay tuned, so that the car will stay tuned, lawnmower, whatever, Ranger will stay tuned." And that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to show you, you don't have to ride to have a mule stay soft and stay trained. They do not stay trained. Really? Yeah, that's right. When my wife's mule, Stacy, everything from my grandkids to a 97-year-old blind man has ridden her. After they were done riding her, I would take her to one side and I would do some tuning on her. I would put her in the come along and I would do a little bit there. I would put her in the surcingle, which we're going to talk about a lot. And any of my mules, especially ones that were in training, were in a surcingle every single day. If they were my own personal mules or if they were elevated to where they had better training, they would be in a surcingle at least twice a week. And that's what I want to teach you all how to do. You're going to be seeing videos of a mule going around in a circle, and you're going to see, and that's the video we use on Mule Riders Martingale. You're going to be seeing different animals in surcingles and me talking about it. It's very, very, very important, you all, that you understand how to keep your animal tuned, i.e., trained. Okay, that's what it amounts to. You just because they're trained doesn't mean nothing. Now, I can also tell you that my good friend Eric from Mountain Ridge Gear, he just purchased a beautiful mule. Oh man, 16 hands high in this one. He just got them buying. He said, "Steve, this mule is drop dead gorgeous and super well trained." I said, "Well, how'd you end up with him?" He says, "Well, a guy went to a high end, and I can give you some names, but I'm not going to, high end auction, and started seeing everybody doing dog and pony show with them. And what I mean by dog and pony show, stand up on them, crack whips, crawl between your legs, fall off the animals, things like that, which does not show training. It shows that the guy is, for one thing, very athletic, the trainer himself or herself. But the big thing is showing is disposition. They'll probably get along with about anything you do, okay? Not that they're desensitized or they're trained, just they have that type of disposition. So those are easier to go on. So what are you going to learn? You're going to learn how I use a rope halter, when to use a rope halter. What else you're going to learn? You're going to learn how to see the martingale first being used, all the surcingle. What else you're going to learn? You're going to learn how to use the finish bit, again, in the surcingle. None of this stuff requires you to be in the saddle. None of this stuff requires you to be in the corral. Matter of fact, the mule will do far better without you around. If you'll set him up, as I'm going to show you in these videos, if I set you up, then you'll be able to do very well with your mule, okay? And train without having to be in the corral, without having to be on top of them. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you the ability to be able to keep your mule well trained or build a foundation. It's going to be both things, because this will be the not only folks is this going to help you with your trained mule, but if you got to build a foundation on your mules or your donkeys, we can help you out with that. No problem at all. So anyway, there you go. That's kind of the long and short of it there, Dave.
Awesome. Next question. This one comes in from Scorp and says, I rescued 2 3-week-old orphan donkeys. These little guys were so skinny when we got them, but they are slowly putting on some weight. Here, let me show you the picture here. I got it right here. Putting on some weight and seem to be pretty happy little guys. My vet is out of town until Monday, but will be seen then. The trouble I'm having is getting them to drink water and eat some soaked mashed milk based pellets. I've tried methods that are online, which isn't much, but I'm having no luck whatsoever. Does anyone have any tricks or advice that works? We have them in a separate pen, but that pen is inside a large paddock with goats, sheeps, and one adult mini jack and one standard Jenny. Hoping they can catch some tips on how things work by watching them. Because of the jack and that our goats are horned, I can't let them roam around, but was thinking of placing the Jenny in with them. Any help is appreciated. What would you say, Steve?
They don't need to even be together. They actually need to be in separate pens, which would be far better, folks. You having two equine together in the same pen does not help them mentally or physically. It don't. Okay. Salt. It's important that you have a block salt around there. Okay. And let them, they'll nudge it around. They'll figure it out. As far as all these other things with milk and things like this, uh, they will listen. A donkey is extremely smart, probably one of the smartest of all the equine. Yeah, I've said it. They are extremely smart. They will do good. Okay. But you have to also remember, they're come off of another area where there was a different smell to the water, different smell to the ground, and this sort of thing. Now, this is what I've always done before I've gone on trips. I have used electrolytes, okay? And I would give my animal electrolytes a week before I would get started. Like, say, I'm getting ready to go to Bishop. Electrolytes is what they got. And then when I arrived at Bishop, I had water, hear this, water from my ranch so that they could smell it and know it was the same kind, because there are cities that use all kinds of different things in their water. And Bishop, I've seen many a time, many an animal be dehydrated, and everybody thinks it's cool that my mule don't need to drink water. Yes, he does too. It's one of their biggest flaws is to not hydrate. Okay, one of their biggest flaws. And so, here's my suggestion: number one, separate them as soon as you can. Make sure they each have their own stall. 10 by 10 would be plenty big for these babies. That way, you can help each donkey. Right now, one's going to kind of depend on the other. Is it okay to have a little divider pen between the two? Yeah. Can they still sniff noses a little bit? Sure, that's okay. But they don't need to be eating, drinking together, because that is the part of the camaraderie to help these guys get to be part of the equine world, the eating and drinking part, okay? So here's the other thing too. As I look at these babies, I can see the one in the front there, his feet are all turned out, okay? Now's the time to be shaping the front feet. Now's the time to be shaping the back feet so that they are straight. If the hooves are not balanced so that the legs will be straight, you're going to end up with some crooked looking donkeys, and mules are the same thing that people have done. Our animals would be a lot straighter, the mules and the donkeys, if we would do all of our diligence before they were 3 years old. Okay, we need to file their feet and work them. We need to put a come along rope on them. They each need to be vetted and stuff like this in the future. And so putting a come along rope on them is immediate. Now I can tell you, how soon do I put a come along on them? If I can catch them coming right out of mama right then, and they're still in the placenta, I help them up. And before they even get their first colostrum, I'll take and put a piece of twine on them and put a come along hitch on them, move their nose a little bit to the right, a little bit to the left, up, down, make them just kind of move back their chin a little bit. And I will start showing them what it's like to have a come along rope. And then it's amazing. You will see them progress. But you got to get a come along rope on them right away. So when you're doing your vet work, you're doing your trimming and your shoeing, guess what? You're going to be able to do it with ease without the animal going through a lot of trauma. But you got to do it now, okay? Don't worry about the feed and water. Believe me, donkeys, when they want to eat, they want to drink, they're going to do it. But if you look at that little donkey right there, the front one, you can see how the front feet are kind of pointing out different directions. And you need to start fixing that now. So as far as feed, keep hay in front of a baby. It's one time you're not going to hear me say, be careful. You're going to hear me say with babies, you go ahead and put hay in front of them, a good quality hay. No alfalfa, it's too tough on their kidneys. A little bit's okay, but not much. And here's the other thing, just make sure they got plenty of water and a block of salt. You can get a 50-pound block and put it down, and they will start licking on it. They'll start figuring it out.
Awesome. Great question. Thanks so much, Score. Appreciate it. Let's see here. We said hello to Janet. We say hello to Marcia. Beautiful and sunny in Virginia. Went and visited my mule friend who is in memory care right now. She wants to go home and check on her mules. Oh, that's sweet. I'm glad glad you were able to get out there, and hopefully you guys had some good time together. Dave O'Brien says, my 2-year-old Molly occasionally grinds her teeth. She's not in distress, and I have the come along. What would you say to our friend Dave?
Okay, Dave, these mules and donkeys their teeth are always erupting. Babies themselves are not much unlike us humans, okay? And then we start teething. And it's not unusual for them to be kind of grinding their teeth, especially when they're getting in their brand new teeth and they're growing, and it makes it feel good. One of the things that we do here, Dave, and I think you may have there in Texas, is I like to take a Palo Verde limb, throw it in the corral, and let them chew on that Palo Verde limb. It makes their mouth feel good, makes their teeth feel good, and that's one of the main reasons. And it don't put no weight on them, and it's really good to give them something to do. So I'm sure you got some Palo Verde there. Mesquite don't do so good, but to give that a try, or maybe you might know of another type of tree that you have there. Be sure we want to be sure to make sure they're not a tree that would end up being poisonous. But the nice thing about having something like that they can chew on is they'll do really good with it. Okay, so you might give that a try. And then the other thing is just make sure you get their teeth floated as they get older. 2-year-old, you're not really ready for that yet, but you might want to take, Dave, and just listen. Take your upper and lower jaw. Your upper jaw, hold with your left hand, lower jaw with the right hand, and move it back and forth and see if you feel any catching or if you hear any grinding. I mean, once in a while, I'll have an odd colt that might be a little bit off in their mouth, and so I'll have to float it myself or have the vet come out. But usually I float them myself.
Great. Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it. Let's see here. David Pingelli, another beautiful day here in Manchester, Georgia. Kimberly is watching from Northeast Maryland, 79 and sunny and low humidity today and tomorrow. Y'all might be wondering, why are these folks telling us what the weather is? Well, every week we get together, and the thing we want to know just about more than anything else is your name, where you're watching from, and what the weather is like. So if you have not introduced yourself or you have not said hello yet, you can make our day by doing that. Just put your name, where you're watching from, and what the weather is like in the comments section, and that would just be tops in our book. If you have any questions, you can put those in the comment section as well. We'll get to every question that you got and hopefully give you exactly what you need to keep going. And then make sure you share the broadcast with friends and family as well. As the kids say, smash that subscribe button and start getting all of Queen Valley Mule Ranch videos recommended to you. Laura is watching from Grass Valley, Oregon. Sunny, 70 degrees and windy. Thank you for the call this morning, Steve. It was good talking to you. I forgot to ask you, when I get him to lower his head and release the pressure, he immediately whips his head back up. He doesn't keep it lowered. What should I do? Now, I'm assuming this is a mule or a donkey and not her husband.
Yeah, her husband needs to get softened up.
No, what would you say to Laura?
All right, so now Laura, okay, here's the thing, and everybody listen to this, okay? It's our timing that is important. Using your hands is going to communicate to these mules and donkeys, and it's really important you understand that. So I have my hand on the pole with my right hand, right in behind the ears. about 4 inches or so behind the ears. It's there, and the other one is on the nose, and it just sits there. And I wait. When the head goes down, I take my hand off, put my head back on. Then the head goes down a little bit more. I take my hands off, put my hands back on. Then it drops the head a little bit more. I take my hands off. In other words, don't hold on to them to go down. A little at a time. Now, 3, 6, 9, 12. So today, I'm going to do 3, and when the head goes down and I let go 3 times, I'm done today. One of the biggest problems with us as humans, we keep on going, and we need to build. This is foundation, okay? Now, next day, 10 days later even, you do not need to train every day. You do the same thing. You do those 3, and they drop their head nice. You do 3 more. Now you've done 6. We're done for the day, okay? And remember, every little bit counts. So when you got your hands like this, all I do is take my hand off, put it back on. I don't take them completely away. I just take my hands off, put them back on. Then I create softness. Now, at the same time, and you'll see this in one of my videos there, and it was a Julie Brundette's mule, that little nice buckskin mule. And we were doing a clinic. You see me dropping the mule's head. And maybe if Dave can remember which one that one is, he can remember most of this stuff, and he can send that to you, and you can take a look at it and see how it's done. But that's the big thing, folks. When you want them to drop their head, you do it a little at a time.
You said that, and all of a sudden I'm looking around. I'm like, I know what he's talking about. I think it was March 2021. I'll see if I can bring it up. It may not have been March. It may have been a different time. And if I can bring it up, I'll come back around to it and I'll show it, and we can go from there. Okay. Janet says, I do feed separately because of the different sizes, and they do get along now. But new donk was bottle fed separate from mom and now very food aggressive. Any follow up there, Steve?
Well, there you are, food aggressive. And when you bottle babies, folks, can sure be a pain in your ass. Yeah, half ass. In this case, the donkey's all ass. Yeah. And so, therefore, that's best to feed them separately. They've got to understand their space, okay? Here's what's going to happen. One of them's not going to like the other one being in their space, and they're going to start kicking and biting on each other. Then you have a big vet bill. Then you're going to say, oh, wait a minute. Didn't Steve say to keep them separate? Yes, I did. Okay. So, yeah, you just have to try things. You'll find it'll work. It'll get there.
Awesome. Rory says, when is the webinar? I was showered and Steve locked up. Oh, man. Okay. We got to get Rory taken care of. It's September 4th at 5 p.m. That's a Wednesday. And if y'all want the link, I just had it and it disappeared on me. I'll put a link in the comments section. And we just solidified the time before we went live. So when you sign up, you're not going to get a confirmation immediately, but shortly thereafter, I'm going to have it all taken care of tonight, and you'll get a confirmation with information on how to access the event. But here in the comment section right now is techniques for tuning up. It's free. It's going to be, we have a lot of fun doing these and really enjoy it. And it would be great to have you there, Rory. It would be great to have any of y'all there hanging out with us. And bonus, if you're there live, you get to ask questions. So you really get the answers you're looking for. Jane is watching from a hot and sunny Florida. Jim from Western Maryland, 72 degrees late. But I'll watch the rerun. LOL. Yes, you will, Jim. You're a good student. Peter is watching from Vass, North Carolina. Judith, another beautiful summer day in Michigan. 80 degrees and low humidity. Cools off so nicely at night, too, in the 60s. Ronnie is watching from Graham, Texas, where it's 101. Becky is watching from Wisconsin, Bruce, Wisconsin. Perfectly beautiful 75. Now she's just showing off. Kathy is watching from a 107 heat index in Houston, and the thunder is booming. Oh, woo. That's the way my kids describe me when I'm looking for who ate my last little bit of ice cream and I'm trucking up and down the hallway. Thunder and booming. Herschel is watching from Missouri, where it's cool and nice. Tish from Massachusetts, 80 degrees. I got my 2 mules ago. My mule lost his pasture mate. He's gone off his feed. I've been trying everything for him to eat as I don't want him to lose weight. He's just a companion mule. He has a 12 by 12 stall and is turned out all day. I know they shouldn't have a lot of grain, but that's all he's eating right now. He's been floated, dewormed by the vet. So this was actually one that I had in the email, and Tish just put it in the comments section before I could read the email. So, Steve, what would you have to say there to Tish?
Well, again, folks, these animals don't need companion animals. And here's a perfect example. Now this companion has lost their companion and they're off for their feed, and now you're starting to have problems. Folks, it's just the beginning of things, you know. They don't need a companion. They need a leader, and you need to be the herd leader, period. I'm sure there's a lot of you that can put something in the comment there that says, yeah, been there, done that, you know. And they'll go off their feed. Yes, they will. So make sure you said the teeth were floated. That's good. Do they need a whole bunch of oats? No, let me tell you. And it's not really so bad because you said you're not riding this older mule. But when they get over, they're in their 16, 18 years old, they get to where they don't start keeping weight on. They start dropping weight, okay? And I've been there, done that with all of my older mules. I have fed all kinds of things, trying to keep weight on them, and I'm just fighting it, folks. It was a losing battle because it didn't work. You know, they're only going to eat so much. That's the way mules are. So I strongly suggest that you get them off of that. Well, if for an older mule, it's not so bad to be on the pasture, but you know, I would keep them in a small pen, watch their feed, make sure they got plenty of salt. Watch their poop. That way you can tell how healthy they are. Watch their urine. You can tell how healthy they are, how much water they're drinking. You tell how, you all see the point? You cannot see that out in the pasture. You can't see their road apples. You can't see how much they're urinating, how much they're drinking. Because a lot of them out of ponds, you know. So that's how you watch them, let's say, healthy wise, okay? And it's not throwing drugs at them. It's not throwing feed at them. It's being able to keep track of them and know what type of feed and how much they're eating and their poop and this sort of thing will tell you how to maintain them.
All right, next one comes from Buck. He says, my father gave me a donkey for my birthday out of nowhere. I admit I did not expect it, and I'm not a big fan of giving animals as gifts, but I would like to take care of the donkey. I don't even know where the donkey comes from. My father won't tell me. He just told me that the donkey was in a meadow with other donkeys. So I built it a dry shelter which protects it from rain, wind, humidity. Also, I think he has scabies on his ears. What can I give him to treat it? My father told me he would make an appointment with the veterinarian to have him examined. Besides, he is very young, 6 months, and affectionate, so he already lets me caress him, brush him, look in his ears, his teeth, etc. Do you have any suggestions for toys I could buy him? He's not alone in his enclosure. I have 2 goats who welcome him, but I'm afraid he'll be bored sometime. Thank you for your understanding.
Yeah, and I've even seen them kill the goats and sheep and this sort of thing, stomp them to death. Take a little Vaseline and put on the tips. That's usually what happens is the flies are munching on them. They're probably kind of not oil. They're probably kind of blood clots and this sort of thing on the tips. So I put a little Vaseline on there, and I'll tell you what, I've even used a little bit of grease, like I use in my grease gun to grease up my car. Just something to kind of keep it moist and keep the flies off of it. The best thing you can do is to keep him in a small pen, and you be the herd leader.
So let me ask you this, Steve. Keep it in a small pen. You be the herd leader. What if it really is just truly a pasture animal? There's no desire to work. There's no desire to ride. And it's just out there. Would it be the same thing?
Well, there again, what about the health of the animal? Okay. Sure. I understand that a lot of people have a pasture animal. Okay. And that's all it's for. And he's older now and this sort of thing. Well, if you want to do that, and turn them loose out there, that's fine. Thing is how can you really keep track of their health? You have to look at road apples. You have to look at urine. You have to see how much feed they're chewing on. That's how you take care of it. So going out and be a pasture animal is okay. I mean, if that's you can do with them, but keep them health wise, you're going to have to bring them in once in a while and take a good look at them, vet work and things like this. So it's a fine line, folks. The big thing is when it comes down to keeping them in smaller pens, I can keep track of their medical a whole lot easier than I can out in a corral. I mean, out in a pasture.
Awesome. Great. Thank you so much, Buck, for the question. Let's see here. Misty says, Judy and Misty watching. It's hot in Texas. Great morning. Walked into the pasture with my guy, was laying down relaxed, and I walked up, pet him, went to do what I needed. He followed me over and stayed with me for a while. I was out there until my daughter came down when she woke up. So sounds like Misty had a nice morning, at least if I'm reading that correctly, unless there's some sort of an equine joke in there that I didn't get, which is entirely possible. So good to have you here, Misty. Tisha follows up with, he listens to me. He walks side by side with me. If he isn't eating hay, he picks at his pellets. He has plain salt lick. I watch his poop in his salt. So what happens when he loses weight?
Well, when they're losing weight, then something's got to be wrong. Okay, you got plenty of feed there. He's losing weight. There's got to be something wrong. So what are you going to do? You're going to do a blood sample or a hair follicle. So you're going to call the vet, and the blood test is going to tell you, okay, we got a problem or we don't. He could have some ulcers. Could be lots of different things. So that would be where I always, folks, a blood sample tells you a lot.
Awesome. Hey, Yolanda is here. Greetings from Europe. Hey, good to have you here, Yolanda. What's the good word? Let's see here. Herschel is watching. He says, I put my old mule down at 41 years last week. So,
Wow.
Steve, 41 years. That seems like a long time. Is that abnormal? Is that unheard of?
No, it's not really unheard of. It's not completely abnormal. And I know Herschel probably used them in the wagon and had a good life and this sort of thing. Um, there are a variety of ages that they die at. I've had young animals die and older animals, but 41, good for you, Herschel. You did good. And I know Herschel, he does a good job of driving his animals and riding them. And so I bet that mule had a good life.
All right, let's see here. Steve, you are not going to be in the valley you're not going to be in Arizona the entire month of September. You're actually going to be traveling. Why don't you tell us where you're going, when you're going, and what you're doing there?
Well, it's kind of unique. I sold my truck and my mule trailer and this sort of thing because I don't have a need for them anymore since I sold my cows and my mules. So my wife has wanted a motor home. So we bought a nice motor home and we're going to go on the road back to Shelbyville, Tennessee. On the way over, I'm going to visit some clients here and there and visit them. So I'm going to be going I-10 on the way back, the South Run, So I've got clients in different places. I'm going to stop and see them. But I'm going to go to Shelbyville and for the American Mule and Bluegrass Festival, and which Marty Ray is putting together, and it's going to be awesome. This year, just like last year, and just like the year before and the year before, whenever I was here, I am free all the time, okay? I got a kick out of a guy last night, and be honest with you, he said he's had his saddle since April, and he wasn't satisfied with it. I said, really? Well, tell me about it, And so he told me about it, and all it was other guys saying, that ain't right. You can't be doing a back cinch like that. You don't need a britchin and stuff like this. So long story short, I showed the guy how to do different things, and he's doing good. So what am I saying? Okay, I'm saying that when I'm there at Shelbyville, okay, I'm free all the way through, just like sharing with this guy. I spent about 20 minutes with him, showing him that there's nothing wrong with a saddle that's been around for close to 40 years. And even though his buddies say so, and I'm going to be there and I'm going to be doing clinics, and everything that I do is going to be free. If you make a donation to American Mule and Bluegrass, all of that money goes to Christian-based organizations. Okay, some of them that are, well, there are a variety of different things, and to help people out, and that's why I'm there. Okay, so I'll be there. I'll be visiting with different people. You all come. They've got RV spots. They have hotels, blocks set out, and this sort of thing. And if you want me to look at your mule while we're there or do some training, again, I'm free. All you got to do is make a donation. You want to watch me working with mules and stuff, all you got to do is make a donation, okay? And so I'll leave that up to you. So that's what I'm going to be doing. My wife and I are going to take my border collie, and we're going to take the motor home and kind of piddle around, get to Shelbyville and turn around and go back home. But on the way back, I'm going to go visit a friend that I've known for 25 years. He moved to Arkansas about 25 years ago, and well, maybe not quite that long ago. Anyway, he's got a special program there to help out young men who have some disabilities. And so I'm going to be there helping him, putting animals in the saddle or putting people in the saddle, this sort of thing. Matter of fact, Dave O'Brien said that he'd like to go and be part of that as well. And so he got in contact with my friend, and he's going to be there. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to be stopping, seeing some friends. And then we get back to Arizona. I know soon we get back to Arizona, got about 1 day, maybe a day and a half. And then I climb on an airplane and I fly out again. And this time when I fly out, I'm going to go visit some friends in a place called Kauai. I have several clients there with mules and this sort of thing. And I'm going to be going there and helping them out on a couple projects. And so that's what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to be getting a special internet connection, so that most likely I will be able to still do the Tuesday programs. I still want to be in touch with you. So, my vacation is something called I enjoy it. So I enjoy my work. So you call me, I'm going to be getting to you. I don't care. And that's what I do. I don't like emails. I don't like text. I'm no good at it. I'm really poor at it. And Dave tells me I'm a poor communicator. So there you are. It comes right from the Dave's mouth. And so telling you all that is, I'm going to call you all the time. And even though I'm going to be on this trip, you call and leave a message. You need to talk to me. And like I tell people all the time, even if you're mad at me, call me. Call me. Just like this guy. He's had his saddle since April, and he hasn't called me or anything. Finally he emails Dave and says, I want to send the saddle back. Well, number one, folks, I can't take any equipment back because then my insurance company is going to be really unhappy with me because we don't know how that stuff's been treated. And I cannot sell anything used. I can't do it. My own stuff, personal stuff, that's different. But when it comes to being stuff that's come out of the store, I can't do that. So I helped him out, and he's happy now. He's going to be sending me pictures. But there again, folks, call me. I'm going to talk to you. You leave a message, I will call you back. Like I said, today, 63 phone calls. And yes, I was kind of getting caught up. It was a little tough being up there in Canada because I didn't always have some kind of service. But I will call you because I don't like texting. I don't like emailing.
All right. Next question here. This one comes in from Dally. It's a foot question, Steve. And let me show you this right here.
Oh,
all
my.
right. Any idea what the cause of this is and what the treatment should be? Even after countless farrier visits, one of my boys still has this problem with this one foot. He walks fine, and it doesn't seem to be any discomfort.
That's a donkey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that's a donkey. Remember I tell you all, folks, that the worst equine foot you can get is a donkey. They are they are a booger. And so looking at this foot and seeing the way it is with in the back there, Dave, on the picture on the right hand side, the hoof. Do you see the lines in the hoof, folks? Do you see those lines going from left to right? You can see it right below the white line there.
Is it this right
And
here?
yeah, that right in that area. You see those lines? That's from bad feed. That's also from poor uh, trimming and this sort of thing. Okay, and I think, and until you get an X-ray, I don't really know for sure. But by the look at the bottom part of the hoof, looks like we got a rotated coffin bone. And again, I really wouldn't know that until I seen the mule or donkey walk, and also until we did an X-ray to really know what's going on. So we can't get a blow up of that at all, can we, Dave? Close up.
I can zoom in, but it's only as big as it is.
No problem. So why? Well, it looks like the front part of the hoof has been rasped off, and I can see that now. And those little white things look coming up from the bottom. They look like teeth. That's the lamina. So it's got separated lamina. So the outside wall, we have some. This is going to be similar to something called laminitis. Okay, so I can't really completely see it, but ask your vet. He should have told you already. I think this is laminitis. If it is, we got a separated wall, and if so, if that's true, then we need to get some shoes on this donkey to help him out.
So shoes might be the depending on all of those things. Shoes would be in store.
They would be absolutely, because that's going to be what's going to help him. Because just being barefooted is not going to help. The best thing I would do is have an X-ray done to know for sure. But it looks like to me we got separation of the lamina there, and the mule is standing up on his toe. He's not laying back, so that can also create a rotated coffin bone. And they don't call it a coffin bone for nothing.
All right. Thanks for the picture there, Dale. I appreciate that. Let's see. Caroline says, I'll see you at the Mule Festival end of September. Leslie says,
Right.
I will be there. Yolanda says it's a long distance to come, but Yolanda, it's worth it. You know it would be worth it. Marcia says, my mules will probably outlive me and be at my funeral. I'm 70 and my two are around 20. My friend at the nursing home thought that was funny today. There we go. Very good. Nice little laugh. Leslie says, I adore my two saddles. They fit like a glove. We can mount with just a snug cinch. There you go. Loose in the front, snug in the back. Right, Steve?
There you go, buddy.
There you go.
You got it.
Marcia says, hey, tell that guy who wasn't happy that he can send me the saddle. I'll take it. Marcia says it kind of looks like a fungus to her. So there's a fungus among us. Let's see here.
What was happening there, Dave? You can see the rasp marks on that hoof. So I think maybe the shoer or whoever it was had done some rasping on the front of that toe to see what it was, because you can see the toe is coming up. And that's why you see the lamina is kind of like fibers like this all coming together. And they are actually like this. And they're like a shock absorber. And what we're seeing in that picture that I can see, we're only seeing a little bit of lamina that's sticking up like this. And the top part isn't there. That's why you call separation of the lamina. Okay. And that's a perfect picture of it. I'd like to have that picture sent to me, Dave. Can you do that?
Yeah, I can send it. I can send it your way.
Email? Yeah.
All right, very good. Okay, Steve, that's it. We got through all of the questions today. It was good to hang out with everybody. Thank you for being here. Just a reminder, we want you at the event we have coming up at the beginning of September. This is going to be techniques for tuning up. It's going to be a training where we talk a lot about surcingle. where we talk a lot about creating a soft and willing animal. You can sign up for free at the link right here that I'm putting in the comment section. Go ahead, get signed up, and we'd love to have you there live. Steve, anything you want to say before we're all done today?
No, I think we're done, partner. I think we covered a bunch, and that hoof thing there, that's something I'd really like to get a closer look at and pay more attention to. But just remember, folks, I'm willing to call you and talk with you. I'll do that, especially even when I'm on quote vacation, because I'm always willing to take and put some time to one side to help out my mule and donkey folks. So happy trails to you. We'll see you.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.
Bye.